Hey guys, Bike here, and I'm back again with another Last Epoch build guide video. This one is for the planner that I had released earlier. This is for the Sword Catcher Sabertooth Beastmaster build. That's a mouthful. So, had a lot of fun with this one. It met the fantasy that I wanted it to do. I was a warrior who had some power, and I wasn't like, a chaperone for my Sabertooth. And my Sabertooth had some power, and he wasn't there as a meat shield. It was symbiotic. Now, in the end here, as compared to the planner that I had released previously, we ended up going, Sabertooth ended up doing quite a bit more damage than I was doing. This is kind of like a how do you say, a jack of all trades, master of none. I was trying to split the power and affixes between both of us. Ended up giving a little bit more to Toothy. That's what I've been calling him. And it's okay. It's fun for just walking around monoliths, clearing. I pushed it to 490 corruption. I could probably get it to 500. It is not the best bossing build. So let's go ahead, jump into the game, and take a look. But before we do that, I want to let you guys know the planner is in the description down below. So if that's all you're here for, go ahead, click on that, possibly like, maybe even subscribe to the channel. I'm still trying to put out content for the game, even though it's in a bit of a lull, but there's a lot of fun stuff to explore. But let's go ahead, jump into the game, and yeah. All right, guys, here we are in game, and Toothy's going ham and cheese on that dummy back over there, but let's check out some gameplay. So what you're seeing right here is corruption 490. We are going around, we're clearing, having a good time, leaping between packs, dropping a frenzy totem, activating Toothy's little claw ability. You even got this nice little combo you can do. You can jump into a pack, activate Toothy's little claw ability, slap down a totem, and it refreshes it, and then you can use it again. So a quick little 1-2, so to speak. The damage is good for just clearing monoliths around 400. Might even be able to hit 600 corruption, but the main problem is that there's some bossing problems. The damage is just not high enough to really be clearing these bosses with any efficiency. With the way the ward mechanic works now, it doesn't really decay fast enough to be very impactful. So you spend a lot of time running around. So speaking of bosses, let's just go ahead and activate the Raye fight. So this is at corruption 490. I probably could have attempted this without any modifiers, but there's a few modifiers too, because let's be honest, most of the time you're just trying to clear. You're not trying to min-max at like 500 corruption, right? And especially with a boss like this, he does so much damage that I can't just stand there and shred on him for a while, because even with all my buffs and 3,000 plus health, I still take a lot of damage. So most of the time it just ends up being Toothy doing the damage. But I really wanted to send home the idea that this is a sword catcher Sabertooth. I mean, I probably could have just gone for a traditional Sabertooth build, but I really wanted to see the power of sword catcher here. So we were able to take down Raye, and then we got into the Harbinger, and Harbinger is thick. He nearly one-shots on everything, and eventually, just after trying to dodge everything over and over again, I finally slipped up, made one mistake, and boom. Done. Like I said, I could probably come back and attempt to fight this guy without any mods on, but let's just be realistic. Even with that, the damage is just not high enough. So I'd even attempt to increase corruption to 500 plus by fighting Orbis. I'm like, that kind of tells me right there I probably need some more mid-maxing. Let's go ahead, jump into the game, and we can go over the gear and stuff. So yeah. All right, here we are in game. We got Toothy just going ham and cheese. So I just wanted to demonstrate some of the like what you can do. All right, so you can jump into the enemy, drop a totem, activate his ability, go from there. If you're in a position where you can just stand there and keep attacking, the way I got it set up now, your attack speed just keeps ramping up. And I have it to where swipe is shredding physical resistance as well. We're also applying poison. That doesn't really do anything. Bleed is coming from Swordcatcher itself, as well. The armor shred stacks are coming from Swordcatcher as well. Yeah, had to double check that. I've been playing a lot of Forge Guard lately, so. So how I do it, excuse me. I'd approach an enemy, I jump in, activate Toothy's ability, do that, drop a Frenzy Totem, the ability comes back, quick little 1-2, and then try and just swipe him down if I'm not getting chunked myself. All right, so I'm going to leave Toothy there to do that. Let's go ahead and jump into the gear. So as you guys can see, we are using Titan Heart on here. This is a very nicely rolled Titan Heart. 24 strength, 15% health. This is a Titan Heart I produced in beta, if you can believe it or not. I'm actually very proud of this. Because I haven't been able to replicate it, even with all the factions and stuff. I haven't been able to get a max T7 strength and tier 5% health. Could be a little bit better on the health, but I think at the time I crafted this was nearly max. With the increased health, I think they in cycle 1.1 they increased the percent health ranges. So I think it used to be like 13 or 14 or even 12% up to 16%. Now it's 15 to 18%. I could be wrong on that, but I know that they increased the ranges on percent health. So nonetheless, this is still pretty well crafted. You're probably not going to have something like this. Useful affixes here. Strength is nice because it can give you armor. Percent health is very nice. Titan Heart has a lot of percent health. If you wanted to go in a direction of more like you want your Sabertooth, you don't have to call him Toothy like I do, but you know, Toothy, to be doing more increased minion critical strike chance, or not increased, but just base minion critical strike chance on here could do wonders for you. Obviously that'd be giving you less buffs. Again, this is kind of what I referenced earlier about having to split the affixes. So yeah, using a Titan Heart just because we're using a two-handed weapon right here with Swordcatcher. Since this is kind of the basis of the build, let's go ahead and dive into Swordcatcher a little bit. Obviously, if you've already seen my planner, you've already seen this weapon, so hey, how's it going? But we're going to go over it again anyway. You get a parry chance. Parry on this weapon has a nice little feature too. So parry goes all the way up to 13%. I got 12%. And if you parry a hit, you get restored to full health, and a random minion, in this case we have Toothy, get restored to full health, and we're granted Frenzy for 5 seconds. While you have Frenzy, your melee damage is increased by 45, and the effect of Frenzy is increased by 58%. Now, Frenzy Totem gives you Frenzy. It also gives your minion Frenzy, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Summons a totem and grants Frenzy to all nearby allies. Yes, it does. As far as I'm aware of, that plus 45 melee damage does not also transfer over to your minion, as far as I'm aware, because it already has a node on it where it's plus 29 melee damage for you and your minions. But when you get to the plus 45 melee damage, while you have Frenzy, it doesn't stipulate that. So I'm assuming that only goes to us. So what happens is, let's try and send Toothy away for a second. So I'm gonna, you know what, Toothy, let's just say goodbye for a second. Let's bring Toothy back, right? In case you guys didn't know, that's a great way to get rid of your minion if you're trying to showcase something like I am. So, as you can see, I'm doing okay damage. There's some bleed ticks. I don't have 100% critical strike chance, but, you know, nonetheless, we're getting some crits. Now, let's throw down that. Now, as you can see, my damage goes up, because there's buffs that are inherent to Summon Frenzy Totem, but also we had Frenzy. And while you have Frenzy, you gain plus 45 melee damage. As far as I'm aware of, That's only applying to me. So let's go ahead and bring Toothy back, because the way I have Frenzy Totem set up, it's also going to be giving him buffs, so it's going to be hard to tell. So global melee damage, I think that only applies to myself, maybe. Frenzy Totem to summon Frenzy Coslet and grants additional melee damage. It says global, so it might apply to Toothy, but this for sure applies to Toothy. So yeah, let's go ahead, bring Toothy back. He's probably going to be going ham and cheese. All right, and then let's drop this. See, his damage goes up, but it doesn't go up like it was going up for me. So I'm assuming that the plus 45 melee damage only applies to me. All right, that was a long-winded thing. So you get the parry chance, you get the plus. It goes, the range on that is all the way up to 39. So we got kind of gimped on that. 28 to 39 melee damage for you and your minions, plus 5 to melee attacks. If you take a look here, 27 points, and swipe anything with a melee tag gets extra points. So that doesn't apply. That applies. So these two apply. As far as I'm aware of, Toothy has the minion tag melee, but not the scaling tag melee, so it doesn't apply. We get Toothy up with plus 2 to Sabertooth. Maybe it does apply. No, there's no way. He would be at 27 as well. He's getting the plus 2 from Nihilus. Okay, cool. Wait, I'm getting the plus 2 from Nihilus. No, it'd be at 27. Sorry. Long-winded. Sorry. Okay, let's get back on point here. I'm getting off track. So I want this to be brief because I already released a planner. I want to go over the changes I made versus the planner-ish. So, Sword Catcher. 12% parry chance, plus 5 to melee attacks. Melee damage for you and your minions. If you parry an attack, you get restored to full health, as well as your minion, and you're granted Frenzy for 5 seconds. While you have Frenzy, you gain plus 45 melee damage. So there, that's a nice little buff to us. Since we are using Titan Heart, I am not using health regen, which is something that Beastmasters can do very well. It's kind of unfortunate, so I have to take damage leech where I can. So Tusked Great Helms give you implicit damage leech. I got a max roll on this one. So I went for strength, attunements, whatever, health. That's pretty much a classic. Let's go over to Phantom Grip. I had a 3 LP. I threw on minion health, minion damage. I tried to get health for myself, and I got stun avoidance. It's okay. But it gives us plus 2 to minion skills, a base critical strike chance, a minion critical strike chance, increased mana, and then some forged weapon stuff. As far as I'm aware of, this applies specifically to forged weapons. I don't think it applies to minions. I wish they would change that. I think that would be cool if they changed it to the stats on your gloves apply to your minions instead of forged weapons. That way Phantom Grip can be kind of a more universal, but oh well. I went with a Spider Silk Belt, mainly for the poison and cold resistance. We also got a cleanse on potion use, health, and a little extra physical damage. The gloves here, critical strike chance, melee attack speed, chance to apply frailty, and excuse me, T6 hybrid health, as well as the Eternal Gauntlets base. You get the armor mitigation, also applies to damage over time, a nice little damage mitigation buff. We currently have 4,736 armor. Trying to make sure you guys can see that. Boots, I went with the Solarum Greaves of Life for the fire resistance. I know the Citadel boots are kind of like the new hot. Well, they've been in the game for a little while now, but they're kind of like the main hotness. Going a little old school, we're going critical strike avoidance, so I got the blessing and the idols here for that. So movement speed, strength, health, a little bit of cooldown to help with just all of our cooldowns. The Primalist Spirit Catcher of Frailty, this I took for the resistances, but also it gave me plus 3 to Frenzy Totem and plus 2 to Sabertooth, an additional chance to apply frailty and some endurance. Ribbons of Blood, I took this for Toothy. You know, 10% health for us. Nice. Gives him a little bit more extra leech, as well as some physical damage for him. But the biggest thing, your minions cannot be crit. So he can't take any crits. If you recall to the boss footage I was showing, his health bar was not moving. Like, he just does not take a ton of damage. It's very rare for Toothy to go down. So let's go over to Nihilus. This has been my kind of, you know, catch-all amulet for a lot of builds. You got some options here. You can throw in a death rattle. You can throw in what is that one reduces the damage over time. Oh gosh, this is gonna bug me, but the reduced damage over Oracle Amulet. You can throw in an Oracle Amulet, get some more stuff on there. This one is more affects us, you know, +2 to all skills, mana regen, armor, resistances. Another way to proc Frenzy when you're going around, you just roll, you get the Frenzy buff right there. So if your Frenzy totem isn't up, you can just roll, get yourself a little Frenzy action. Got to be aware you'll lose 14% of your current health when you do that, but we'll leech it up pretty quick. And then on the implicits, health, mana, movement speed, and then we were able to slam T6 health on here. This amulet is very nice. Okay, that is the gear. Let's go over the idols. I mostly just use the idols to patch up any resistances I was missing. I'm still pretty low on the necrotic resistance. If I could get a better, how do you say? I mean, I guess I could take a chance on here and try and re-roll the implicits. I do have some forging potential left. You can get that up. This isn't going to take care of everything, but you can get your cold resistance and your necrotic resistance taken care of here. But I mostly just slotted in some poison and physical resistances to take care of that. A little bit of physical resistance here. My idols are all just trying to patch up my resistances and critical strike avoidance. Let's go ahead and take a look at the blessings. So obviously take what you want, take what you want, take what you want, take what you want, take what you want. Now let's go over the more useful blessings that actually affect our stats. Taking care of my void resistance right there, taking care of my lightning resistance right there. Critical strike avoidance right here. Armor, and then I already said, take what you want there. So let's talk about some options that you can take if you wanted. If you need some more endurance and you're doing all right on armor, you can drop this, take the endurance one. You can get even more shred physical resistance here. I would not recommend that, but you got options there if you want. I would highly recommend armor. If you are opting to run some sort of reduced bonus damage taken from critical strikes on your gear, you could then take like all resistance in this spot. That's a good one, but I'm just going the old school, you know, pre 1.0, before the Citadel boots, and well, if you're playing Sentinel, Leonine's helm. I'm just running the old school critical strike avoidance. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the skills here. I'm just going to try and go over some of the few key points to be trying to grab. So here on Sabertooth, we got +6. Health on leap might not necessarily be what we need. I mean, he's really tanky right now, but it could be because I stuck 2 points in here, 20% extra health, multiplicative health. Very nice. Went down this line over here, grabbing all the critical strike multiplier, crit chance, melee damage, and chance to proc flurry swipes, melee attack speed, and bleed chance, and movement speed. I was worried about this frenzy one because more damage taken, 33%. So far, he hasn't really been affected by that, so I'm going to keep rolling with it. Let's go ahead, look at Frenzy Totem. I just grabbed anything that could really just give us some major buffs. Damage while tethered, critical strike multiplier while tethered, tether range, global melee damage, a little health, little duration for the totem. This does die a lot. Rabbit, frenzy effect, companion melee physical damage. Okay, I'm sorry, Toothy. I like you, but you're just making too much noise right now. All right. I'm having trouble thinking. Thank you. Sorry if anybody was watching the video. Furious Cry, I would definitely grab these two right here. While Frenzy Totem is active, your Sabertooth Flurry Swipes cast an additional time when used. So that's another way to just proc even more Flurry Swipes. Get in, any more damage with that 1-2 punch. Furious Cry, Frenzy Totem refreshes companion abilities. That's why I was saying proc his swipes, drop the totem, proc it again. Let's go over swipe. So originally I had this really set up with all this damage and I wasn't going down this side of the tree, but I noticed that, you know, Toothy was definitely being kind of the star of the show. And the whole basis of the build is I didn't want to be a chaperone. I didn't want to be a weakling. Well, I was still able to squeeze out enough damage for myself that I was able to pop 4 points into rending to give us 100% physical shred chance. That's why I wasn't recommending the physical shred chance from the blessings. I recommend this just so you can try to get a few stacks of physical shred resistance so Toothy can go ham and cheese. 5 points in aspect of the Panther. You get global damage per stack. Feline Hunter for attack speed. Lion Strength gives you more more Panther stacks and global melee damage per stack. And then we just grab some global critical strike multiplier and aspect of the Panther duration. Let's move on to Warcry. I mostly just grabbed anything that was really a buff right here. While active, increased crit strike chance for me and my allies, which in this case would be Toothy. Berserk duration, maximum stacks, because Berserker, you gain the Berserk buff for 1 second when you use Warcry, granted you additional melee damage. While you have Berserk, you gain additional stacks of Berserk. And then Fury Strike's attack speed, you know, just helps us attack a little bit faster, add more to that shred. I really wish this would affect just all of your minions instead of just specifically Raptor and Bear. I think that's a little unfair. Maybe it would be too OP, but it'd be really awesome if it affected Sabertooth as well. But hey, what are you gonna do? And like I said, you use Warcry. Not like I said, I didn't say anything. Use Warcry to cleanse ailments and invigorate. Warcry also restores health to your ally. The amount of healing is increased. The amount of healing is increased by healing effectiveness is doubled if you use while on low health. This is one I might remove because Toothy doesn't really die. Doesn't really happen, so might find another place to put it. And then Ferocity, while Warcry is on cooldown, your critical strikes have a chance to use Warcry again. This only can happen once, but it's kind of funny. You use Warcry, you're attacking, and all of a sudden you hear a ha, and you're like, I didn't use it, and then you realize it got procced by Ferocity. All right, let's move on to Fury Leap. So, Fury Leap, I've actually been able to get some kills with this. So, it's tempting to take Aspect of the Mantis, you know. When you do a short leap, if you kill an enemy, it resets the cooldown. Can only be reset once every 5 seconds. But I still think it's kind of cool because we get some nice bonuses when we leap. We leap, we get global melee damage bonus. We're able to cleanse all ailments on landing. We're immune while leaping, so a good way to avoid some damage. We get a 24% Fury Leap deals more damage and has a shorter cooldown, so 24% more damage for Fury Leap. This one's really nice too. It's a great way to kind of control your minion without specifically hitting the A button. You can just leap in a direction and they'll leap with you. I like this one a lot. Highly recommend Pack Leader. More damage per meter traveled, critical strike multiplier for Fury Leap when you land. Like I said, we were able to get some kills with nodes like this and this. All right, cool. Let's move on to the passive skills. So I put a whopping 35 points in to the Primalist tree. All to get to here. Ancestral weaponry. Melee physical damage with a two-handed axe plus 40. Yes. Now, if I was going to build that was less for me and more for like Toothy, I would remove this, because as far as I'm aware of, this only applies to me. But like I said, when I thought of this build, I wanted this to be, I want to be a warrior and have a pet, not, you know, here's, you know, I'm the chaperone, here's the pet that kills everything, don't look at me, run away. Yeah, you know. That is the fantasy of the build. So ancestral weaponry was a big yes for me. I've kind of tuned this a little bit. I might. So I put 5 points here to get the increased health, but I might take points out of here. That 20% physical damage. I know it's doubled while you have a minion for 40% physical damage. That increased physical damage, that's cool, but I don't know. Might put it into Hunter's Emanation. For right now, I'm leaving it in Tempest Spawn. 5 points in Cornered Beast. This is when you're on low health, like you're going down in health. You take less damage, 20% less damage. That's a nice buff. And you also do more damage while you are on low health. Hence the reason why Beastmaster and just Primalists in general really like the no life builds with the ward. You know, you can activate this. All right, moving on to Beastmaster itself. I've kind of cleaned this up a little bit from the planner I released, but let's go over it. Key takeaways here: Ursine strength, just more strength. That's great, as well as reduced bonus damage taken, reduced damage taken from nearby enemies. 1 point savagery, ambush, and rending maw. This gives us aspect of the shark. Artor's loyalty increases the size of the companion. We're limited to one companion. It's a one companion build, so I took it. 5 points in Boar Heart. You're granted aspect of the boar for the duration when you are hit by a melee attack. So this aspect of the boar reduces damage taken by 15%. So while having aspect of the boar, you could take these two things. These could be very interesting. I opted not to take these, but nonetheless, you could put some points into Tusk Warrior and Deep Wounds if you want. Especially because we are using a Sword Catcher, which is a Bardiche base, which gives us a huge amount of bleed chance on hit. If you wanted to go towards more of a bleed build with Sabertooth, which might work pretty well, right? You could go here. I opted not to do that. So there you go. Natural fortitude. So I originally had points here. The strength was nice. The strength was very nice, but it really is about health regen, and we're using Titan Heart. So I took points out of here. Yeah, when you're using Titan Heart, all you're really getting out of it is the strength. The other thing would be the health regen for companions, and Toothy just doesn't really die. I mean, now if we push into like 1000 corruption, this might become more useful. At that point, the build would look a lot different. Could it do it? I'm not sure. Minion builds, this is the first minion build that I actually enjoyed. Most of the time I played minion builds, like I said, I felt like a chaperone and I wasn't really enjoying my time, because then you're more just trying to manage a minion, but who knows? 5 points in Axe and Claw. This is extra damage for us as well as our minion, as well as Toothy. The Chase, this is a minion buff per se. And I think it's a good minion buff to take. Yeah. 5 points in Porcine Constitution. Aspect of the board grants additional damage reduction and now also grants increased health regen. Obviously, health regen is something that we're not really benefiting from, but damage reduction, yes. And then also gives us a chance to proc aspect of the boar on hit as opposed to being hit. 1 point in Life in the Wilderness. Your endurance applies to your companions. Circle of Life. Aspect of the shark, chance on kill. The on-kill effect of Circle of Life also has a chance to trigger when you hit a rare enemy or boss enemy. I only put 1 point here, so it's only a 5% chance, but hey, little damage bonus. Couldn't hurt. 1 point into Ocean Mod to get us to Feeding Frenzy. Aspect of the Shark can now stack. Now, you get less bonuses from Aspect of the Shark, but you can stack it up to 10 times. Could be a thing. Like I said, we only have a 5% chance to proc it. This is what I've been rolling with. I haven't really sat there to crunch the numbers and see if, how much of a bonus I'm getting, but I think it works. 10 points in Viper Fangs for melee attack speed, as well as companion melee attack speed. The poison, it's whatever. 3 points in Cry of the Lynx, increased critical strike chance. Casting companion abilities grants Aspect to the Lynx. Nice little crit chance boost right there. 6 points in Serrated Claws for critical strike multiplier and companion critical strike multiplier and Aspect to the Lynx critical strike multiplier. Damage Leech, didn't really need it. And Ancient Might, plus 10 strength. Melee physical damage, minion melee physical damage. Really nice pickup right here, especially if you're doing physical damage. Then I popped 7 points into Druid for endurance and armor, and minions have additional armor, and this is doubled for your Locust. So Toothy now gets 300 armor, and then if you have Locust, it's doubled to 600. All right, so we are level 99. We have 1 point left. I say put it wherever you want. Maybe Circle Life, have another chance to a little bit more chance to get Aspect of the Shark. Who knows? Anyway, guys, that is the build. I tried to keep it brief. I'm long-winded, so apologies. This is kind of brief for me. Nonetheless, thank you so much for watching if you made it all the way to the end. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great one. And take care. Bye.